And so I greet you this morning, those who are joining us here at the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living, where we're continuing our theme for the month of July, which is speaking truth to circumstances. And our topic today is Got Me Hypnotized, Wake Up from the Dream. And in our biblical inspiration this morning, there was a line in there about making mistakes. And that is right in alignment with a lesson this morning in the Science of Mind magazine that talks about making mistakes. And that as human beings, we learn from our mistakes. Quite often it's the reverse experience. We get beat up most often for our mistakes. The learning comes from the lesson of the mistake, to look at it, to break it down, to say, what could I have done differently, or what other approach could have been taken to this? And so it's all on how we approach what is taking place. It's time to wake up. The alarm is sounding and it's calling you to a new and more wonderful and beautiful day. But the key is, you got to get up. You got to get up. Last week we learned that circumstances are never the truth, especially when we look them in the face and identify them as the monsters that they seem to be. That's when we neutralize their power. Today we examine the ways we have accepted or been hypnotized by the media and or social conditioning, and we're setting the intention to wake ourselves up, to free ourselves, to move and to be in a place where we are moving from reaction to authentic action. And so it's about taking back our power, reclaiming the essence of who we are. Songwriter Bob Welch wrote a song called Hypnotized. And the last verse is with these words: "Now you know it is a meaningless question to ask if the stories are right, because what matters most is the feeling you get when you're hypnotized." The feeling you get when you're hypnotized. Now, Miguel Ruiz refers to being hypnotized as domestication in the Four Agreements. In our New Thought teachings, it's referred to as the collective unconsciousness, that collective dream in which we are so enmeshed that we don't even know that it's a dream. And then in the Notes from the Universe, an email that I received recently, it says, when you're driving down the road of life, rarely do you know how good you have it until you see life in the rear view mirror. Now, this is not a suggestion that you look back. However, it is to remind you that where you are today is more awesome than you probably realize. And so when we take that pause to reflect and to look back on life, and we wake up from this dream, we realize that we have more to be thankful for and more to appreciate. Science of Mind teaches that our entire journey of life is one of waking up. We're born into a pre-existing dream, a collective agreement about life. The dream, unfortunately, is founded in a deep belief in separation from God, from ourselves, from each other, and from the planet. This separation grows seeds of duality such as good, bad, right, wrong, fear, judging, us, them, and so on. These seeds also create the desire for control, or blame, or shame, or guilt, heaven and hell, victim, persecutor, rescuer, and many, many more. The principle of oneness supports us in awakening from that dream. However, the waking up process can be challenging, and the journey calls for a great deal of compassion for ourselves primarily, and then for others. When we're practicing compassion for ourselves, it automatically rolls over and flows out into our experiences and in our connections with other people, places, and things. Ernest Holmes, our founder, writes this in What We Believe, also known as the Declaration of Principles. We believe that the ultimate goal of life is to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. Now, this does not mean that we arrive at some spiritual destination where everything is static and inactive, and we're just in this la-la, woo-woo space, and life is just going on and everything is fine. That's not what Holmes is talking about. Holmes is reminding us that as we move towards this goal of life to be this emancipation from discord, that it becomes a reset point, if you will, in consciousness for an expansion in evolution, a reset point. And so this reset point begins when we recognize that life is a mirror. And rather than wrestle with the mirror, we change the source of the reflection. There's a story that I've seen several times on social media. There was a new family that had moved in next door to an existing family. And this was a setting where the new family would wash their clothes, and then they would hang them out on the line to dry. And so the nosy neighbor looking out through the window says, I need to teach that woman how to wash, because she's not using enough laundry power. Look how dingy her clothes are. And so this goes on for several weeks and into several months. And then as part of a weekend cleanup, the husband washed the windows in their home. The next day she looks out the window. Some of you know where this is going. The next day she looks out the window and she goes, wow, that lady finally learned how to wash her clothes. And the husband said, no, I washed our windows. So as we literally and metaphorically wash and clean up our consciousness, we change the reflection in the mirror. We're looking through those filters of conditioning and domestication. Tony Robbins was once asked if it was hard to hypnotize people into a trance state. And he replied, no. The difficulty is waking them up from the trance that they're already in. So this is what we're about today, is to wake up from that trance, wake up in the lie that we have been told that we are separate from our source. However it is that you identify the source. Waking up requires that we be honest with ourselves and that we acknowledge our willingness to look the false beliefs and stories in the face and to find it more comfortable when we find it more comfortable to stay in our rightness rather than step back and admit that our perception may or may not be accurate. We realize then that it is our perception of whatever the experience is that is blocking us from seeing the circumstances more clearly. We may encounter people, circumstances, or organizations who upset us as part of living in this human experience. It's important to recognize this. Below the surface appearances, we're all one, and we desire the same thing. Now, our approach may be different because each one of us is an individualized expression of spirit. So our approach to wherever we're moving to is going to be unique for us. But below the surface of appearances, what we all desire is love. The love that is expressed by the infinite presence. No matter how distorted our methods are, once we align ourselves with love, we understand that this is now a new way to activate the reset in consciousness. And we begin to support ourselves and we begin to support others in unraveling this false belief and its web of distractions. Speaking of a web of distractions, I have an agreement with spiders that come into my space, and that is, I see you, I'm going to walk out of the space. I have a respect for all life forms. When I re-enter the space, if you treasure your life, be out of my sight. And it generally works. However, there's one little spider that I've decided, this spider is here to teach me a lesson. Because I have a chair that sits right in front of my computer, and it's a rocking chair, and I have a little throw that's on the back of it. So one day I was busily working on the computer, and I noticed some activity. Yeah, you notice out of your periphery something is going on. So this little spider, just a little tiny guy, or spider, I don't know what its gender is, even if spiders have genders. So I'm noticing it, and it is it's doing its little magic. You know, it'll swing out on a web, and it'll swing back onto the chair, and it'll crawl down like out of sight, and then I'll say okay, and so I get back to doing whatever I'm doing, and then I'll notice it again, and so it'll swing to the other side, and swing over to the throw that's on the back of the chair. And so I've been watching this spider doing its little dance. And then the last time I vacuumed, I moved the chair and dusted and whatever. And so I thought, oh, maybe it's gone. And then I'm here at the office, and across my desk here at the office crawls a spider that looks just like the one that was. So I go, oh, you hopped into my briefcase and came along for the ride. And so I've only seen it one time here in the office, so I'm sure it hitchhiked back into the briefcase, because yesterday I happened to look up at the ceiling and it was up there, and I go, oh, you changed locations. So, so I'm having a little dance with this spider. And so our challenge in this waking up process is to move past the intellectual knowledge into a spiritual awakening and a spiritual awareness. And here are two practices that will support our doing so. The first is the practice of meditation, a real deep meditation that quiets the mind enough so we can hear our true self. And this is something that we build up to, and it's something that we practice. I've been practicing meditation for probably 30 years or so, since I came into Science of Mind. And there are still points in my life where I get distracted and get off track. Or the committee decides, as soon as I decide I'm going to meditate, the committee, the conversation, this clump of voices in my head decides they're going to be active. And it's chitter chatter, it's gibberish. It's almost like a baby when a little baby is making its cooing sounds. Although the cooing sounds of a baby are pleasant to my ear, this committee is not a pleasant chit chat. And so I finally have gotten to that point where I say, okay, shut up, this is my time. We move into that place of be still and know, as the scripture invites us to do. So it is through a meditation practice that we be still and know. We be still and recognize the voice that we hear is that of our true self. And this is not an overnight process. And the second process is compassionate listening. And if any of you have ever done any of Marshall Rosenberg's work on compassionate communication, you'll know and appreciate this idea of compassionate listening. Compassionate listening begins with ourselves. Listening to ourselves helps us to see where the real change begins. So you can see how the meditation and the listening go hand in hand with each other. Compassionate listening takes us from the desire to be right to curiosity. It takes us from our position to our heart. It takes us from the need to win an argument or prove someone wrong to wonder. And a couple of months ago, we did a series on wonder. And in our opening song, I'm the place where God shows up, Eddie Watkins uses the phrase, sometimes I wander and ponder. I wonder. I wonder if there's something that I can learn from this person that I have previously perceived as adversary. Is there a gift here that I have been blocking because of my own whatever? You can assign the word to it. So it is. This is what the process of compassionate listening does. We find it easy to extend this practice to others. And so on our journey, and perhaps the most important task that we have on this journey, to wake up and to wake up enough to experience the reality of living life from a place of love and a place of oneness. And so the takeaways that I offer to you this morning are, we must first heal within. Otherwise, we remain hypnotized and perpetuate those old patterns of attack and defense. Another takeaway is to practice deep meditation, to clear the fog away, and to remove the misconceptions that have surrounded us. And to stop relating to the world from an us versus them. Make that shift in consciousness and welcome into relating to the world as we. We are in this together. We're all on this journey together, seeking the same goal. And practice compassionate listening with curiosity for both yourself and others. And recognize the core desire that we have, which is love. Then we act in love, which is what we're all desiring. And so I have an affirmation for this week that I would like for us to say. I will say it first, and then I'll invite you to say it with me. I wake up to the truth of spirit that I am. Let us say this together. I wake up to the truth of spirit that I am. I am this truth of spirit. Now let us join together in consciousness as we pray. Knowing that I have dropped into that space of loving kindness, that space of compassionate listening to myself, listening from within, knowing that there is only one life, only one thing happening here, and that is spirit expressing in the multiplicity of forms, and yet showing up as one, showing up as oneness. I know that I am one with spirit. I know that I'm an individualized expression of this essence. Knowing this to be the truth for myself, I affirm it, I accept it, I know it, I declare it to be the truth for all who are present here in our physical space, those who are joining us via the virtual communications, wherever and whenever you may be hearing this word. And what I can declare is that Spirit is saying to each one of us, you are my beloved. You are created as an expression of me. Others may only see the reflection of me as you and through you. So shine your light. Illuminate not only your path, but allow the light to shine on the path for others so that they feel compelled to shine their light and to illuminate the path for others to shine their light. And so just imagine, if you will, this brilliant light that is ignited by the light of your soul, my soul, your essence, my essence. This light that says, wake up from this dream. Wake up to the truth that there is no separation and that we're all on this journey together. Wake up to the true essence of who you are. See yourself as evidence of divine creation. Walk this journey together. Walk this journey hand in hand. And where there are seeming forks in the road, or where the road may split and divide, walk hand in consciousness. Because there are many paths that lead to the same source. And so I speak a word of blessing this morning for everyone who is walking the path and the experiences that each one is going through on this journey. Experiences that are called life challenges, life opportunities, life desires, life designs, transitions that are taking place, movement that is taking place. However that movement is showing up in each individual life, I know that that movement is leading each one to a higher and an expanded consciousness. When we remember to wake up, to recognize the truth and the essence of who we are. For those prayer requests that have been spoken to a prayer practitioner or to a minister or to a close confidant, even conversations with a therapist, however it is that there is a verbal release of whatever the desire is, that desire has been made known and the universe is now saying yes. The universe is revealing to each one the ways that the demonstration unfolds in their individual lives. Those of us who are experiencing the transitions of loved ones, and that transition has many forms, know that there is a healing that is taking place, and that the grieving cycle, although never ends, becomes easier and easier and easier as we remember the very essence of who we are as expressions of the divine. I speak a word of blessing for all places where people are gathering in the name and nature of the one love, the one highest idea, knowing that blessing and transformation is occurring right there in this moment. And whenever the gathering comes together. And so for this and so much more, I am truly grateful. I'm thankful for the word that is spoken, knowing that my word has set a new cause in motion and that it cannot and it will not return void. And so again, in deep, deep gratitude, I release this word now back into that law, which always says yes. And if any of what I have said resonates with you in any way, let us affirm it together by saying, and so it is. And so it is. So nice to look at and see all of the smiles. And to look at our Zoom family and see all of the smiles. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For those of you who are here in the center this morning, we have prayer request forms on our prayer table. If there is something that you would like for the ministers and the practitioners to speak a word of blessing for you, please fill out a confidential prayer request form and place it in our prayer chest, and we will pray with you as well as for you. And if you would like to meet with one of us, Our contact information is on our website and is also in our newsletter. We are here to serve you. And now it is time to share in the gift of the circulation of abundance, known as in the traditional churches, offering time. And so again, I appreciate and give thanks for the ways that this spiritual community supports itself. And let us now say together our affirmation of abundance. I recognize the presence of God within as a source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And the ways that you may donate to the center are on our screen. If you're here in the center, we have a donation box on our hospitality table in the center. You may leave your donations there. You may also mail in. The address is on the screen. You may text to give. That information is on the screen also. And you may contribute online to our website, www.montereycsl.org. And while you're on the website, if you're not a subscriber to the newsletter, click the subscribe button so that we can put you on the mailing list so that you receive our weekly newsletter that goes out. And I just want to share some good news. I was going to hold this for the board meeting, but I want to share it with everyone. Bobby Hall, who is our newsletter editor, publisher, grammar check for me, and all of the wonderful things that Bobby does, shared with me that we have a very high ratio of people who open our newsletter. And so I'm going to imagine that if they're opening it, they're also reading it. So thank you to everyone who opens and reads the newsletter. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so. There are a few events that are happening that I'd like to bring your attention to. Today, following service, join us for coffee and conversation. And I understand there's a basket of zucchini and cucumbers that are in the back of the sanctuary. Oh, good. Who brought them? Sandy. Oh, from Sandy's garden. Thank you. So, sharing abundance in many ways. Sharing abundance. Thank you, Sandy. Also, remind you to join us for visioning on Saturdays from 10:30 to 11. We vision for the center. And on Sundays, and the Saturday visioning is online. And on Sundays, we vision for a personal vision from 10 to 10:30 here in the bookstore and also online. And those Zoom links are available in our newsletter and also on our website. There are ongoing volunteer opportunities here at the center. There's a printout that is on the table in the lobby in the entrance. I invite you to take that and see if there's something that excites you, that interests you. And if you don't see anything on there that interests you, and there's something that is really calling you forward to step up and be a part of this of our community, let us know. We will find the space for you to share your gifts and your talents. So let us know. Also, we're continuing to recruit for a bookkeeper. We're calling forth one in consciousness that knows QuickBooks Online. So we know that right and ideal person is there to support us. On Saturday, July the 15th, Monterey Peninsula Pride is celebrating its annual event here in Monterey with a parade and a festival. In fact, there are activities that are taking place the whole weekend. But on Saturday, there's a parade down Alvarado Street ending at the Custom House Plaza. this year, the Monterey Center will have a table at the celebration that takes place following the parade, where we will be able to let other people know about our center and that we are a welcoming and inclusive community, honoring and inviting all people to come and be a part of who we are. And there are sign-up sheets for if anyone has some time to volunteer on Saturday. There are sign-up sheets with time slots. Would invite you to do so. I will be representing our community on stage with other welcoming and affirming and inclusive clergy. I don't know who the honoree is this year, but I will be proudly representing our center. We have t-shirts in the bookstore for those of you who are here that have Monterey Center for Spiritual Living on the front, and there's a beautiful rainbow heart on the back of the t-shirt. And we're selling those, and I'm sure Georgia will correct me, but I believe we're selling those for $5. So if you don't have one, get one today, and they will also be available at our table on Saturday. So that is it for the Pride. On the third Sunday is Soul Collage, that is facilitated by Denise Kaku. And then on fourth Sunday is Spiritual Living Circle, which is also facilitated by Denise Kaku. And so I know Denise would appreciate some additional volunteer support. So connect with Denise if there's something that you would like to contribute or ways to see, let's involve more hands in the mix. It makes it just a lot more fun. And so as we say good morning to our YouTube and our Facebook family, invite you to join us next Sunday as we continue our theme for the month, Speaking Truth to Circumstances. And our topic is Standing on Shiva. This too shall pass. So in that lesson, in that talk, we're going to be looking at some of the ancient Vedic spiritual modalities, spiritual teachings. So please join us. If Monterey happens to be a destination point, we meet at 10:30 on Sunday mornings at 400 West Franklin Street, and you're always welcome to join us. And so we say good morning to our virtual family. Those who are part of Zoom, please stay on. We have some other information to share with you.